that you make, I swear.
Are you talking to me?
No, little. Ugh, my poor lumpy pad. I'm gonna have to change that. Do not bite my toe, ma'am.
Too late.
Alright. Nah, no. Marvin. I appreciate you, Marvin, but stay over there. Alright. I think we're going. So I managed to get the other piece of roof outlined. I think I got every piece. My eyes started going cross-eyed after a while. I did record this one. It is waiting to be processed. I still have to get to that. But I'll put that one up before I put up today's live stream on the YouTube channel, so they're kind of in order for how we were going. So we got the roof sorted to a degree. We still have to cut it out and attach the two pieces and trim this guy all up. We'll do that when we go to assemble the roof, because I don't want to lose any pieces. So for now, this is gonna go and sit up on the base with the house. Now, we have not gotten to the chimney yet, and I just realized that as we were going to get started, and I don't know if the chimney's gonna work the way I want it to, so we'll see how that goes. I hope I have enough color here. I thought we'd be starting the tree and just working on the tree today, and then I was like, oh wait, right, the chimney. So we're gonna kick today off with the chim chim, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I will say this guy was not nearly as crumbly and flaky as the base was. The base, it was everywhere when I opened it. So this one I opened specifically over the trash can, and like next to nothing came off of it or tapped off of it, and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, the more you play with it, the more stuff's gonna flake off, but that's just how that stuff is. So alright, mic should be working. All of the audio things should be turned back on because I had to turn them off. And I just realized that we are way super zoomed out to be working on this piece, but you can still kind of see it. I had to, because this thing's like huge. It's the length of the pad, so for the workspace and the zoom in that we were at. So it is Sunday. How is everybody doing? I've got a mess. There's just stuff everywhere. It's just everywhere. And sorry for the late start here. I got up a little bit later than I had intended, and I had to get our dough started for dinner because we're having pizza tonight. So that takes a little while to get happy. So that was part of the delay. But like I said, that 4 p.m. start time is more of a I'd like to start here at the latest, but you know, life happens. So it's always a well-intended start time, but it just doesn't always work out that way. So you can see that our chalk marker actually did pretty good staying adhered to our felt, because this one's been drawn on here for a couple of weeks now. Now granted, I haven't been, you know, touching it and fussing with it. You know, once we got it on there, I sat it to the side, but still, I mean, I'm impressed. For something from Dollar Tree. Seemed to hold up pretty well, because I was thinking, oh, chalk, it might flake off pretty easy, but at the same time I was like, well, at least I can see it, right? I don't know if a light colored like gel pen or something would have worked. It might have, But that's okay, because this did the job. Oh, right, this is... The angle side is gonna touch the roof, so this is kind of sideways, but not necessarily upside down, but definitely sideways. So there is... I need to start getting more work done on this off stream, I gotta tell you, because we're getting down into November now, and we've got things we've got to do for Christmas, so we have gifts that need doing. So I have the my mother and my father's Christmas gifts that I have to get sorted. Kind of know what I'm doing for them, but we'll see. I think my mom's might be more I don't want to say problematic, but involved. Let's go with involved. Although my dad's could end up being the one that's more involved. But yeah, so Russell's working on the nicer gift, and I'm working on the side gift, because it seems to have somehow inadvertently become a tradition where they get some kind of Christmas ornament or handmade gift, because, you know, we broke. So that's sort of what we're doing. The nicer gift, though, we are shelling out for. We were originally going to try to make it, but it was going to be at a much higher skill level than either one of us were really very confident at attempting. After we sat down and started to get into the nuts and bolts of it, and we're like, oh, yeah. Like, I had an idea of trying to make it work, I just didn't know if it was gonna work the way my brain was like, yeah, no, do it this way, and then the rest of me was like, yeah, but we've never done this before, so maybe we shouldn't make this the guinea pig. But he's working on the art for that. He's got the one done, he has to get the other one done, and then we have to submit it to somebody to do what we want them to do. But we found somebody that we're going to use, and hopefully they deliver in a timely manner, and it's what we're looking for. How big are you going to go, sir?
Are you talking to me? What's
yeah,
up?
How big are you going to go on those things?
The one I was looking at is like 12 by 8, I think.
Okay. So it's a decent size.
Yeah, it's a decent size, otherwise it wouldn't bother, it would be worth it.
Alright, so we'll see. We're having patches made. Or not a patch, a vinyl transfer. Oh, you need to order that shield.
Yeah, I'll worry about ordering the transfers first.
So, because we decided we found it is possible to do the custom vinyl transfers. I don't have the equipment to make them ourselves. That would involve, I think, a sublimation printer and possibly a Cricut machine, or I don't know. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't have the money for that. Because the printer alone would be a couple $100. And that ain't happening right now. So, but we're gonna try to make her a rooster Christmas tree ornament. See how that goes. I mean, I made the chicken before, but the chicken was really heavy. So I'm nervous about the rooster. I don't know, like, I'm probably gonna have to go Like, do we go 3D? Do we go flat? Flat would be lighter, but flat's also going to be fuzzy on the back. Although, not necessarily, because I could sandwich the fuzz between another piece of felt and stitch the edges. So, I mean, that is possible. I just don't know if, like, that would be lighter. Just don't know if the 3D one's gonna be too heavy for their tree. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. However, the branches on their tree are a lot sturdier on their fake little tabletop tree. They're a lot sturdier than the branches on our Christmas tree. Because our fake Christmas tree, it's got fiber optic branches. Or the branches have the fiber optic lights in the ends of them. And we did not know that the branches were going to be quite so flimsy until we got the thing home and got it put together, and we were like, oh shit. This can't hold ornaments of like any weight whatsoever. But I mean, it's not a terrible thing because all the good stuff we have to put at the top of the tree anyway, because of a certain small demon cat that's decided it's her great mission in life that every single Christmas ornament that is within jumping range must get knocked off of the tree, and it is just the greatest game ever for the amount of time that the Christmas tree is up. And such a great source of entertainment that every ornament must come off. We have a couple of ornaments that have big bells on them. And so we can hear when she's messing with the tree because it shakes the whole tree and then the bells start to jingle. And I'm like, get out of the tree! So when she was a kitten, she was climbing up into the tree. We have dogs, we have cats. We already knew to secure the tree to the wall long before that incident. But, you know, when you have a 150-pound St. Bernard walking through the house, the tree's gonna sway dangerously, so we're like, yeah, let's tie that sucker down. So, you know, we know all about the securing of the tree to make sure that it doesn't topple. But we ended up going the fake route for a while because it was always a little stressful trying to figure out if we were going to have money to come up with a real tree. And the demon child kitten likes to climb, and if the branches are sturdy enough, she would be in the tree. We knew this. And she would be covered in tree sap. We also know this too. And based off of how high she could get in the tree when she weighed like next to nothing, I can guarantee if we had a real tree, she would just be living in there. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's okay. I really don't want to be trying to pull sap out of kitten fur, especially when the kitten gets all, not really a kitten anymore. This is what? I think this is her third Christmas with us. I think. So, I mean, yeah, I want to say it's her third. I could be wrong about that. I lose track of time. It's either her third or her fourth. I feel like it's going to be the third, though. But, yeah, no, that's okay. We'll just, at least with this one, since the branches are a little bit flimsy, she can't get up high because the ones further down will not hold her. So she has to, like, jump up and the branches underneath just kind of collapse. I mean, it's a pain in the ass because then we have to constantly refluff the tree, and every morning we're like, okay, where's all the ornaments that are missing? And then they watch us put them back on the tree, and her and Peabody, they're like, oh good, the tree's been reset. The game's set, let's go. It's like, no, this is not, stop this. Leave them alone. So yeah, any good stuff has to go to the top. But I think, so I know our tree wouldn't hold the 3D guy, because all that fluff on there does get a little weighty. And I also need to figure out if I'm gonna do a styrofoam ball in the middle. I think I still have some. I mean, it would help me get the shape. It might actually make it a little bit lighter too, because then it wouldn't be solid roving in the middle. That shit can really, that can pick up some weight quick when you start to compress all that together. I was like, oh yeah, I should have plenty of fluff. I'm starting to second guess that assessment. I'll tell you that much. Let's see. Okay. I'm just trying to get this covered up pretty good. Now I don't plan on sewing the chimney together today. I figure we'll wait to do that for assembly, because I don't know if this guy's even gonna work out the way I want him to. We'll see. But we do need to get started on this tree guy, because he's gonna be a bit of a thing. My plan this week is to get the base finished. So I gotta finish putting this snow pass on the base. And then I need to see if I can find my cookie cutters, because I don't really use them anymore. Because I'm like, you know what? These cookies aren't being gifted. It's just for us to eat, and I really don't care if they're in the shape of like little gingerbread people. I just have gotten to the point where I roll the gingerbread out when I make it, and I take a cookie, not a cookie cutter. I take a like a pizza wheel cutter, and I just like make triangles, and it just kind of looks like gingerbread nachos, and I'm like, that's fine. I don't care. I'm the one eating it. I don't care. It doesn't need to be painstakingly decorated to make it look so beautiful. And then when it comes out of the oven, I get some make some powdered sugar glaze that will stick enough to drizzle but not run. And then I just kind of take a fork and just kind of flick it all over everything, and I'm like, good enough, let's go. Let's do this. Do I need to get him?
I got it.
Okay. Momo wants to potty, so.
I'm coming. Oh, such big soulful eyes. Such beautiful soulful eyes.
He's like, look, dude, I gotta be. I saw Nom Noms lurking through the window while you were at the store with my mom.
I'm sorry, looking through the window?
I was looking through the window and saw Num Nums lurking outside.
I thought you saw him looking through the window, which is why I was confused.
He was looking through the front door last night, or this morning. I heard a noise, and Zuzu heard it too, and I thought I'd imagined it, but I got up to double check, and he was sitting on the welcome mat in front of the door. I'm like, look, it's not my fault if you don't finish your food and the possum eats it on you. Like, I can't help that. Nor do I have an unlimited supply of cat food here. You're just gonna have to wait until somebody else gets up. And it gets to be a little bit later. I find it hard to believe we're the only one feeding this cat. He won't go in the little cat house we put out there for him that we made out of a plastic container. We didn't have the money to get straw, so we took some wood chips that we had and some blankets and a pillow, like a chair cushion that he likes to sit on that we had out on the porch, and we tucked everything in there, and he won't go into it. And I'm like, look, we'll leave it here, but you can't come in the house. There's too many other animals in here. You're not fixed. I will not have a male cat off in here, especially when it's their house and you're the stranger. Like they're here. They live inside, buddy. Excuse me. Allergy voice. So, but yeah, I'm like, no, you can't come in. You don't live here. You haven't been to the vet as far as I know. You're certainly not coming into a general cat population unvetted. And my mom's like, oh, I just feel so bad for him. I'm like, mother, he cannot come in. Like, it will be a bloodbath in this house. We've seen him fight with the other outdoor cat over territory. Like, that used to stop by here. I'm like, this is not happening. Like, no. I'm not bringing that nonsense inside knowingly what I've seen happen. And she's like, well, I just feel so bad because it's cold out and he doesn't understand why he can't come in. I was like, look, if you're that worried about it, the only thing we can do is try to live trap him and call the pound and be like, hey, this cat's still hanging around our house. It's getting colder out. He should probably be like an only cat. Maybe a barn cat for somebody. I don't know. Oh, he likes people too much, so barn cat might not work. But, you know, I was like, that's our option. Is either, you know, we put a little house out there for him as best as we could in the budget that we have, and we feed him, or we trap him and turn him over to the pound. She's like, well, they'll kill him. I'm like, our local pound is a no-kill shelter. Like, they're not gonna kill him. But, we know for a fact they're not a no-kill shelter, because they've had a couple dogs for months on end that they keep trying to advertise, hey, available for adoption, available for adoption. Our town has become quite the dumping ground for unwanted pets. They drive out onto really shitty people drive out onto one of the mountain roads just within city limits in like the dark of night or at a time of day when there's nobody out there, or they think nobody's out there, and they're just, you know, kicking the animal out of the vehicle and driving away. We've had witnesses. It is crazy. And our pound keeps posting, we're at capacity. You're gonna have to call the county. pets. We're a small facility and we can't take any more. It was real bad during the summer. They had to refuse take-ins for several weeks. And the one lady that was taking care of the pound, or seemed to be in charge of most things for it, was like pleading people, please get your pets chipped so we can get them back to you and keep the chip info up to date. We actually chipped the kitten because she was a little fiery and we didn't know if she'd like bolt out the door on us if she got near it. We actually need to put the chip info in. We got the chip, but we never filled out the info. So, I mean, that's not going to do her any good. We really need to get around to doing that. At least to my knowledge, we forgot to do it. But I mean, some of these people that know their pets are chipped, they're going in and wiping the chip info, like going into the website and removing all of it, and then dumping the pet. So it's like, what? Really? You couldn't just turn them over so they don't get hit by a car or whatever? It's a lot cheaper to turn them over than to face a felony animal cruelty charge, let me tell you. And a lot better for everyone involved, so stop doing the stupid things. Husband and I had talked about it, and we decided if we ever came into any kind of large sum of money, like a lottery or something, that we would probably try to give them enough money to expand the facility. Because it's really small. They had tried to get a new building built from the ground up, but they were having trouble getting volunteers to do the things, and then they were having trouble raising enough money to do the things. Like I said, it was taking a long time. And then somebody else donated to them space for their cat clinic, for their cat spay clinic. I don't think it was large enough for them to do their dog clinic, or maybe the vet that was doing the dog clinic had to back out or something. I don't remember. But I really only ever see them talk about the cat clinic. So it would be nice to get that put up. But it's doubtful that we'd ever come into enough money to make that happen. There's Zuzu. I hear him clicking clacking on the floor. If their nails weren't so dark, we'd have an easier time of keeping up with them. They're not super bad. They're just a little long. They're long enough to tap on the floor. Because we've got these weird floors in our room. They're not really wood. It's not really... It's not like linoleum either. It's like a vinyl sticker, maybe? On top of like... I don't know, maybe kind of like a pergo floor, but it's like a vinyl sticker on the surface. It's strange, because if it gets wet, like this one spot, the sticker kind of tried to peel up, kind of like my desk. It's very strange. But with Momo, we've had to put down some area rugs anyway, because Bad Back Puppy was slipping all over the ever-loving place, so we had to go to, where the fuck did we go? Dollar General. Had some large enough, with slightly out of our budget, but we did it anyway for the doggo, rugs that we could put down that fit most of the space where we needed it to go. I've got one under my desk just to keep my chair from rolling backwards because our floors aren't level. So if I didn't have anything under my chair, I'd be sitting in it and all of a sudden I would just like start sliding. I'm like, oh, well, that's good. Because, you know, no carpet. But with the area rug, it seemed to do just enough. Because, I mean, yeah, so if we do the flat one, we'd have to sandwich it between two. I probably wouldn't have to put any polyfill in the middle, though, because it would probably be puffy enough with the stuff on the back of it. But alright, so that's two parts of the Chim Chim. And we still have to outline it. I think I still have enough white fluff here. To go over that, although those two pieces look entirely different lengths now that I'm looking at them. Well, it might be a crooked chimney. That's probably just all it's going to be. Perhaps with the magic of hot glue we'll be able to make it fit, if I've got the angles right. That's one of the big things I just don't know. Because, I mean, in theory, on paper it looked like it was gonna work, but my brain doesn't always process things the way other people do, so I might have muddled myself into thinking that it was working. We'll see. We will see how that goes. Alright. We got our turkeys for Thanksgiving and Christmas. They had them, and turkey can be hard to get down here, especially ones that are big enough for leftovers for at least a day or two. Because, you know, there's always some shrinkage when you cook and everything, so those are taking up a ton of space in our extra freezer that we have. So then my mom needed to go to the closer grocery store earlier, and I was like, oh, well, that's good. Because, you know, there's always some shrinkage when you cook and everything, so those are taking up a ton of space in our extra freezer that we have. So then my mom needed to go to the closer grocery store earlier, and I was like, oh, well, that's good. Because, you know, there's always some shrinkage when you cook and everything, so And from here until at least Thanksgiving, we have to be under the mindset of extremely limited freezer space. Like, you need to use some things before you can buy some more things. This is how this is gonna work. This is how it works every year, this time of year. Once we, manage to score the things that we need for the holidays. And, so my mom goes in the store, and then she's buying a huge tub of ice cream, and then a smaller tub of ice cream, like not like the Ben & Jerry size, but like like a regular normal size thing of ice cream. The other one was just a little bit bigger, and Russell's like, leave the freezer stuff. I'm gonna have to try to make it fit. And I don't know what else she got for the freezer. I only saw the ice cream. He was already trying to bury something in the other freezer. And I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? She's like, what? I was like, because Russell ended up opening the fridge freezer because whatever he had wasn't gonna fit in the other one. And he's just standing there staring. I'm like, Mom, you can't keep buying more ice cream in the big containers until you use some of your stuff from the freezer. This isn't gonna happen. It's not gonna fit. I was like, look, you've got this container of ice cream, this container of ice cream. She's like, well, this one's almost empty. And I'm like, well, you're gonna have to finish it right now because the other one's not gonna fit. And Russell picked it up and he goes, yeah, actually, you are going to have to finish this now or throw it out because it's not happening. So pick which one. And then she got my dad another container of ice cream when his original container of ice cream that was in there was only half empty. And I'm like, number one, he shouldn't really be having ice cream on the daily anyway. But at the same time, you can't just buy this shit on a whim. That grocery store is literally 2 minutes from the house. You could have waited until you were used it, and then once it was gone the next night, Russell would have taken you. And she just kind of stood there looking at me like I was stupid, and I'm like, Mom, this isn't a portal of never-ending room. And we don't even have that much stuff in the freezer, Russell and I. So I'm like, come on now. You don't get both freezers, damn it. So, some of this stuff, we need room too. And Russell and I do actually have to use all of our stuff in there, and we have been. But she'll just start buying a bunch of freezer shit. And then she'll buy the same thing 3 times, and I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, you still have 2 more of these in the freezer. And then she's like, I do? And I'm like, yeah, eat one of them. And she's like, oh, I didn't know they were in there. I'm like, yeah, it's because you keep buying more shit before you actually look to see what you have. Look first. Make a list. She makes us so nervous. So I'm like, you're not on a budget that's that much better than ours. We know you're on a budget. What are you doing? Come on now. Oi. Oi, oi, oi. What can you do? And then, when we're trying to explain to her why you can't just do the thing, she's like, all you guys do is pick on me. And I'm like, no, we're not. We're trying to explain to you, this is why we can't do the thing. We're not picking on you. We're telling you why you can't do the thing. So stop doing the thing. Whatever thing happens to be. She's like, well, I forgot about the freezer. I'm like, you bought the 2 turkeys. How did you forget that they were in there? I'm like, there's no way that you could have forgotten about them. When you're the one that purchased them. Like, they didn't just vanish. Oh my goodness. Alright. Some days she concerns us because we're like, what? The other day, Russell was making soup and she came out into the kitchen and she's like, oh, you're making your cheese? And we're like, what? He's like, are you okay? She's like, yeah. And then he like started asking her other questions to see what kind of answer she was gonna give him. And he's like, well, you just called my soup cheese. She's like, I did? We're like, yeah. Yeah, you okay? Because now you're scaring us. And we need to know if you need to go to the emergency room. I did actually have Zuzu visit me for a little bit this morning, but of course he showed up just as I was starting to fall asleep. Or trying to fall asleep. And so I guess my mom had gotten up at that point, and he got mad. So he was gonna come and sleep with me again, I guess. I'm second choice now, apparently. And he jumped in bed, and he got under the blanket, and then he just started staring at me, and then shoving his head into my face and into my hand, wherever my hand was going. And I'm like, dude, it's night time. We're going to go to sleep now. If you wanted scratches, you needed to show up a hell of a lot sooner than now. And every time I stopped, he was like picking up his head instantly. The second my hand stopped motion. I'm like, I had an itch on my face I had to scratch. Calm the fuck down. And then he was laying there on his back, his legs rigid up in the air, and he kept stretching and pulling the blankets off of me. I'm like, sir, I would like some blanket, please. So we were battling over the blanket. And I thought he was asleep, so I stopped scratching, and instantly the head was turned and the look of betrayal. And I was like, really? Really? I was like, I told you it's night time. I cannot stay awake till 8 o'clock in the morning scratching you. I'm sorry, I love you, but I need to sleep. And I think he finally fell asleep enough where I was able to stop scratching him. I have no idea what time it was at that point. But when I woke up next, he was missing, so he must have went in search of breakfast. He is such a spoiled brat. Just like, really, I'm second choice now because you go and sleep with Grammy. You couldn't care about me. You only come to see me when she gets up. And then you think I'm gonna sit here and scratch you for hours. I was like, no, that's not how this is gonna work. I was like, where were you when I laid down at 4 a.m.? You were nowhere to be seen. Alrighty. It's so dreary out today. It rained a good part of the day yesterday. And today they were still saying we could have some showers. Because I thought it was odd that they changed. Apparently they were supposed to do trunk or treat for the kids for Halloween yesterday. On Saturday, and I thought they were doing it on Sunday, but apparently no, it was Saturday. And then I saw a message from our police department saying, yeah, we had to move trunk or treat to Monday. And I'm like, why are you moving it to Monday if it was supposed to be on Saturday? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So they're doing it Halloween night itself. And they're starting it a little bit early. We've got to remember to turn our front porch light off because we have no candy to hand out. We have candy canes and some old Tootsie Pops in the freezer, or in the fridge. That's all we got. Like, they're not that old. They're a few months old, but, I mean, they're still edible, but I don't think anybody's going to want candy canes from, like, a year and a half ago. Maybe 2 years ago. That would be a little weird. Be like, it's not Christmas yet. Well, that's what I got. I forgot to turn the porch light off. Take it or leave it. Which my mom's probably going to be pissed about because she's going to want to go outside and smoke. I gotta remember to turn that porch light off in the morning. Because the switch is in our room. I'm gonna have to write myself a note. Hopefully I'll remember. Alright. So there's a lot of projects I want to work on. So I gotta make my mom's Christmas ornament. I gotta make my dad's Christmas ornament. I'm trying to figure out something for Russell because he's been adding surprises that I don't know about to my mom's list for me and then tormenting me about them. And I'm like, but that's not fair because I don't have anything for you. And he's like, well, it's not like I bought it. And I'm like, yeah, but you shoved it on the list, so technically it's from you. So I'm like, that's not fair. Now I don't have anything to give you. So I'm trying to work out an option. A little thin in that spot, but I think we'll be okay. Alright, so we got one more. I do need to outline this guy. Can I ask you one question about the Christmas shopping?
Huh? What's up?
Can I ask you one question about the Christmas shopping?
What's up?
Did the yarn show up?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, everything that's been ordered is showed up.
Okay.
And I even counted to make sure that the right one showed up.
Okay. Because, I mean, it's only the second time we've ordered from them, so... And the first time we had the weird mail hold debacle. So I just wanted to... I had no idea how long to expect it to show up. Well, that's good. So, I requested yarn. I know they ordered yarn. I just don't know what color yarn I got yet, so... Because they've been running this one on sale a lot recently. And when I last checked, they were out of stock of a lot of colors. A couple of the colors have been out of stock since I ordered from them myself several weeks ago. So I'm not quite sure if those colors are coming back. I hope they are, because it's like almost all of their greens are out of stock. I'm like, damn. That's not good. At least in that particular type, thickness. I might have to see what the other thicknesses are they have in that brand. If I really need that color, I might have to swap over to a different thickness. Excuse me. Or try to find another brand in my budget. Seems like every time I find a brand, half of the colors go out of stock. Like, what is happening? You have like 63 shades in this brand, and I swear there's at least 15 to 20 that are out of stock right now. Although some of them recently went out of stock, because when I bought them, I got those colors, so it might just be slow resupply issues. I mean, it's not a bad yarn. Pretty soft when it's fluffed out. So I kind of have an idea of something I want to do for the husband, but I have no idea how to execute it. And I'm just like, I don't know if this is gonna work. So I'm gonna have to experiment with that. And I still haven't had the time to try to see if I can breathe life back into the gouache. I really want to do that, but I want to wait until I'm ready to sit down and use it, or at least within a couple days of being ready to use it, because if I do it now, I'm nowhere near ready to sit down with it. Like, I don't want to get it all set and then have it dry out on me again. Sort of situation. And it wasn't that expensive, and I would like to actually try the Arteza gouache, but I don't have the money to try it right now, so I have this like huge ass art supply wish list on Amazon that I've been putting together as I see stuff, and I'm like, oh, I would like to try that. Oh, what is this? Oh, what is that? Alright, so we're almost done filling this last chimney piece in, and then we're gonna have to I'm gonna just do a quick outline on the chimney. I don't think we're gonna go too fancy on it, because I do want to start working on our tree. I actually don't know if I have enough green, so I'm gonna have to probably fluff more green for that. In fact, I'm fairly certain I do not. Like, I have more of the color, I just don't have a whole shit ton of that color ready. So it works out that this is taking up a little bit of time. And and then we'll be able to pop over and start work on that. So I was consulting with the husband how his thoughts on the tree and how we should try to approach it. So we're gonna do something a little different with it. It might look a little whimsical. But yeah, since I don't know if this chimney is actually going to work for us, I don't want to go too elaborately decorated. Because I don't want to waste a whole lot of time on something I don't know if I'm going to be able to use yet. But we'll at least get this guy outlined up here. Just trying to make sure we got all of our loose bits of fluff tacked down and in place. Pop gently, gently. Oh, that had some fluff from the pad mingle in. Huh. Fascinating. Right. So I mean that's pretty good. Alright, and the backs will flatten out as we go. I mean, you can see this guy's already pretty flatified. Flatified? A new word? Might be. Alright, so let me grab our icing outline and get that going here. Okay. Like I said, we're not gonna sew the chimney together today. I want to wait till we're ready to sew the roof and everybody together in one go. And we're ready to attach everybody, so we'll have a stream where we're just, you know, putting everything in place. But we still have a little ways to go. Our tree's going to take a little bit of time. Probably, if I don't work on the tree off stream, I want to say like at least 2 full sessions, but it might be 3. But that's a lot of scritching to subject you guys to. So I might have to work on a little bit of that off stream and record it. So if you see something that you're like, hey, I don't remember seeing that, make sure that you check the YouTube channel, because we are doing this one in a mix of live stream and recorded. So if you feel like you missed something, you may have, and it was probably recorded, or you just happened to miss a live stream, and both are in the Nisi Needle Felts playlist over there. It's the same channel name as here, just over there. And apparently I now have access to the community tab. It seems like, I don't know what the new criteria is, or if it's just they're giving it to channels that have been around for X amount of time, or something. I don't know. It caught me by surprise when they saw the announcement over there. I'm like, but I don't have X number of followers, so this is weird. But there was different criteria that if you met, that they were giving you access to that. So I was like, oh, okay. Interesting. I don't really have anything to post over there, but still interesting nonetheless. Now, did you just eat something? Are you eating dog food off the floor but not out of your bowl?
Maybe.
Jesus Christ. This dog. I heard a crunch and I'm like, what was that? I swear. He won't eat the dog food even if I try to hand feed it to him. Unless it's mixed with something else. But he'll eat it off the floor like from a week ago because it fell out of the bowl when one of the cats jumped on the ottoman that the bowl was sitting on. Like, really? Really, buddy? Alright, so we will have some stitching showing through on the chimney because it's going to be kind of small to turn inside out. So we'll probably be gluing fluff, whether it's the polyfill fluff that I'm using as our quote-unquote snow, or it's the white yarn fluff, whichever it ends up being. We'll probably be gluing that over the stitched edging so that just to try to hide it where necessary. Like how we're gonna have to do on the base of the house. Alright, now have a little bit further to go on this guy, on this piece. So it's not too bad getting the edging done on these ones. And it wasn't too terrible getting the edging done on the roof, but it did take me I think that recording's about, I want to say like 2 hours or so. So it did take me a little bit of time. So I'm glad we didn't try to do it during the live. Because I would have been here till like 10 o'clock that night and I really needed to go eat. So, but like I said, I will try to get that one edited. Oh gosh, what day is it? It's Sunday. I'll try to get that edited tonight. I don't know if that one's going up tonight. Might not go up till tomorrow because, you know, processing time and all that. But I'll try to get started on that one. At least. Alrighty. Now this particular one, we might need to add a little bit more icing to his edges. I'm trying to embrace this should be like a cookie and should be janky as shit aspect of it. For, you know, like a homemade gingerbread house, you know, it should have some personality flaws to it, but it's damn hard for the one side of my brain that's like, no, it's crooked. I'm like, it's okay, it can be crooked. I'm just like, for this, it can be crooked, and I'm just like, no, it can't be. Constant war going on. This is basically just the similar idea of outlining the house and outlining the roof. Just kind of wrapping it around our edges here. I don't know if this is gonna quite fit. It might. We will see. Ugh, my hair is getting to that stage where it's long enough to be annoying, but not long enough to necessarily cut yet. Gonna have to see if I can find my clippy clips, but sometimes the clippy clips don't help me that much. Sometimes they'll bother me in other new adventurous ways. Alright, now we do have a slight gap there. And I know that's gonna bother me, so... we have a slight one over there too. Alright. Let's see about filling in this gap. And here. Meow. Hi, Little. Little, you're gonna get stuck on my chair and then I'm not gonna be able to move to unstick you. What's up, my friend? Little says hello. I'm not quite sure why she picks this time of day to want to try to demand my attention. But this seems to be a new pattern with her, and she shouldn't need any food. Pretty sure she had some when I checked earlier. Are you stuck? What's the matter? I hear you, but I can't see you. What is she doing?
She's just sitting there.
Oh, why did you make the panicked meow?
No, what's up?
You made a panicked meow meow.
Jesus.
What's the matter? Does you need cuddles? Do we need to have a kitten cuddle break? Is that what this is?
She's purring like mad crazy now. I pet her. Hey, no chews.
And now she's gonna bite you.
Oh yeah, that's what she does.
Alright, so there's those two pieces. I guess we have to have a kitten cuddle break. So, where are you? There you are. But you're always holding this foot up. Is your foot okay?
No, I think it's just the way she goes.
Come here. Oh, goodness. Let's see here. You just really want to be part of the stream today, huh? and get some kitty purring ASMR. Don't know if that came through. She's not the loudest.
I can't hear her, so probably not.
She's not the loudest purr. Huh. See? You're on the screen. You're upside down, but you're on the screen. Or top view. Did you want to help today? Did you need to help, Mom? Huh? What's up? What can I do for you? Was you that bored? I think it's more of a fact that Cal's in kitty time out right now, and you don't have anybody to play with. Is that what this is really about? Hi. Hi. It's not like you sleep with me at night, because Ed's always on the bed and you don't like him. You don't even cuddle. You don't like cuddles, but then you demand my attention now. Hi. What's up? Has the kitty cuddle meter been filled yet? You're just chilling, huh? Hi. We can't take a kitty nap here, though. Mom's in the middle of a stream. Yeah. Are we good now? Would you like to get down? You don't like me to actually hold you most of the time. If I go to pick you up, you're like scrambling to get away from me. Except now, when I don't really have the time to hold you, you're like, hi, lady. Alright, well, we need to get back to work now. Okay? Okay? We need to get back to work. Thank you for visiting. Alright, and that was your kitty cuddle break brought to you by Little. The little kitty brat. She was starting to settle in, and I'm like, oh, no, no, no. For a while, she was on this thing where she had to lay with my arms wrapped around her on the desk, and I couldn't do anything because the one arm had to be constantly wrapped around her. She wasn't content to just sit in front of me. Alright, hold on, let's fix the camera. There we go. Get my beat up shirt out of there. Now that you've seen the small Little. She's not that small anymore. I think she's bigger than Cow now. But she's little bits of trouble. Like, her full name is actually Little Bits, but we either have devolved into Demon Child or, she's so bad, or just simply Little. I mean, you know, Demon Child also fits because of the demonic smirk face that's in her fur pattern on her stomach. This set up here. So we'll start to get the tree sorted. Now I do know we have a blunt top on our tree. All of the cones came that way. I'm not quite sure why. I think it's because most people stick them in like the grave cone holders. And it's just what they do, or maybe it's flat to stick stuff in the top of. So I don't really know what we're gonna put on the top of the tree yet. We're gonna take a trip to Dollar Tree this week, and I'm gonna see if they ever got in their little fairy lights or see what they have for little Christmas ornaments that we might be able to either wrap around or stick on the top or something. When do you need to eat?
Oh, well, they have some extra beans, so I'm gonna have a few of them. So no rush.
Alright, well don't fill up on bean.
No,
Okay. Oh, hi Little. Speaking of Little, now she's under my desk. And I just poked her with my foot because I didn't know she was there. At least she didn't bite me right away. She ended up taking off. So yeah, husband and I are eating together tonight, so probably won't be a terribly long stream today. Not as long as last week. I'm not anticipating that. Tomorrow will probably be our longer day. Because I don't foresee us eating together 2 nights in a row. We don't normally. Because we like to eat different things most of the time. But tonight we're gonna have pizza, so. And I used our last packet of yeast, so we won't be having pizza tomorrow night. Unless we go and find some more yeast tomorrow. Alright, so we do have a little tiny gap wanting to form there. So I'm just gonna try to tuck this in here. So yeah, I want to try to get to Dollar Tree this week if possible. Because every time I looked, they didn't have any of the fairy lights, and I really didn't want to pay for them off Amazon. Because that was just too much money. And they were too big. It was way too many feet on the length on them, and I'm just like, and then I did find like a smaller one that I thought I could work with, but it was just so expensive. I was like, yeah, that's okay. So I mean, if you find cheap little mini lights, I would recommend the LED one just because you're going to be against fluff, so they don't get too hot. And to not leave it unsupervised if you do the mini lights, like make sure they're LED so the bulbs don't get hot, and then, you know, supervise it just in case, because you never know with fluff and temperatures and all that. So I mean, that's another reason why I kind of backed away from the lights, because I was like, oh, is this gonna be a safety risk? Because I was like, you know, I don't want to set anything on fire. That would be bad. But yeah, I'm gonna see what they have for like little tree decorations and see what our options look like. I might not have anything, but maybe if I can find at least like a little tiny tree topper that we can stick on there, that would be good. I mean, it's going to be an outdoor tree, so it might not be all of that elaborately decorated. It would be out in your yard. I mean, you might throw something up on there, maybe some ribbon or something. Just kind of trying to snag all of our loose ends here. So yeah, maybe not do the lights unless you know they're gonna stay cool to the touch. Just put that little caveat on there. Don't use like the standard non-LED mini lights. Those I'm gonna be like, no. That's probably not a good idea. Alright. So... that section got a little bit thinner. I necessarily wanted it to. Alright. Yeah, I still want to do the art piece. There's this one picture I want to do, but I want to do it in a couple different ways. But I want to use the same reference photos. So I'm thinking of trying to paint it with gouache, if I can get the gouache paints back to life. I also want to needle felt it. Or we could acrylic paint it. But then I was thinking, you know, I think I have a couple of wood slices left in my stash of stuff. We could try to oil paint it as well, and then figure out, you know, which one we like the best. Just to see, you know, the differences between them and stuff. I mean, obviously the needle felted one's gonna be way different than everybody else, and it might be a little weird to do the same scene in that many different media. But I really kind of want to try to do that. If anything, just to kind of show an example of, yeah, I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff. Oh, we could do tissue paper too. Oh, you know what? I don't even have to do the wood squares. We have, or the wood slices. I have squares that we can do. I just have to make sure I put it on a piece of parchment paper so I can move it around without getting my fingers in the edges. That is an idea. And we can do the tissue paper art on a wood square too. That would be totally doable. Now, some of the stuff that I'm kicking around here would probably end up being recorded, because we're still working on our Bob Ross stuff. We're just taking a break for holiday things. Or we could do one day the Bob Ross and then the other day a different thing, but that might be confusing project flow wise, so we will see. I mean, maybe if we finish Coral Island, although I think it's going to take us a while to get through that because that's still in early access. And I am messing around with it off stream, so
Sorry.
you're alright. How many? Oh, he didn't hear me. But yeah, we'll see how that goes, and I've put a few hours in on that offline, well, off stream rather, and it's going pretty good. I'm working on figuring out the relationship system and the gift giving system, and apparently one of the characters in my non-stream game, one of the townsfolk got mad when I gave them a flower because they're like, I can't eat this, you should have let it keep growing, that was so wasteful. And I'm like, okay, all right, well then, that's a thing. Alright, so there's the pieces of our chimney. We still have to attach that guy. I'm not gonna go like brick lines on there because I don't know if we're gonna be able to use this guy. So if we can, great, and I'll just add some like extra snow fluff around the edges of it to hide our stitching lines when we get to that. Now, let me put the last bit of white fluff away. Let's see. So things are going to get a little scritchy, and I do apologize. So I'm going to try to keep this as away from the microphone as I can. There's only so much I can do because this microphone likes to pick up like everything. So let me grab all of our felty goodness here. Ah. My hair is everywhere. Alright, so this is a piece that we haven't used yet. This is a piece from the... Oh, that's right. That's what that was from. I was size testing for the embroidery hoops. This was extra scraps that I was holding on to. So we could outline the tree in white. I think we're gonna do it in like a fun color though. I kind of want a fun color. See if I can get... The question is, darling, do we need... Hey, Mrs. Rocker, how are you? Is one piece going to be enough here? So if we go this way, right? And we go this way. So how are you today, Mrs. Rock Hero? Hope everything is good. Alright, one piece will probably do it because I can trim this and slap it on there because this is just the under piece and it's fine if we don't completely fit in one go because this is not gonna be seen all that much. Okay, so now it's gonna get a little messy, more than likely. You can hear it already. You can hear it already. Yeah, there we go. Now the real mess begins. Alright, so. No, actually that does need to... Okay, that looks good there. So I'm just gonna kind of smooth this down as best as I can. Because this is a little bit ridgy. It's got some grip to it. Finally got your major add-ons sorted. That's good. It's because sometimes those add-ons can be an absolute nightmare to get sorted out. Especially when they're not all updating at the same time. Put those scissors away and we still kind of need them. Alright, so these aren't the greatest scissors, but they get the job done here. Yeah, it really killed us to have to allow the talent points, but it was just an absolute shit situation. Are you not? Come on. You just really don't want to cut this felt, do you? Where's my other scissors? There we go. There we go. There's proper scissor action. But we just didn't really have a choice in the matter, and not a fair choice in the matter. Let me restate that, because if the characters made before October, if characters made on October 25th and backward previously, before patch, that had been spec'd, were all grandfathered in, and if you think about it, that's at least 50 irons that hit max level, not counting all of the in-progress tunes that people really take their time working on. That's a lot of characters that would be grandfathered in to have talents allowed. So that would be quite the advantage over everybody else if they weren't allowed to use talents. And it would be a headache of code to try to get sorted on top of it. So, I mean, not happy about it, but it was the fairest decision for everybody, because we also didn't want to say, hey, those challengers that you were working on before this date, yeah, you got to give them up. That wouldn't have been fair either, to make everybody start from scratch and wipe everything. So alright, so this guy, sorry, I'm trying to figure out if how I want to handle the top here. Alright, so this is gonna be a little scritchy, and I apologize, but there's no way around this. Okay, so just be careful if you have earbuds in. I'll be as non-scritchy as possible, but I can only do so much. So I'm just taking our needle and I am stabbing it through our felt, just the felt. And I'm gonna anchor our seams into the other felt that it's been wrapped around. I gotta make sure. Be careful if you're holding this, because the needle can go all the way through the styrofoam. I felt it go through. It didn't hurt me, but I did feel something tap my hand on the other side. So, do be careful, keeping the thickness of your craft foam in mind if you're doing this. And I'm just trying to get our seams attached to each other. So we're sort of felting the, oh yeah, I felt that one. We're sort of felting the felt to itself to sort of seal it around our cone. And we'll also be getting the bonus of those fibers going into the styrofoam, or the craft foam. It's not really styrofoam. Like, see, it started to shed when we started fussing with it. But this is how I had to wrap the base to, at the very least, keep everything from getting a little too everywhere, and it helped dampen the scritchiness as I was putting the fiber over top of the base felt. I know now, right now, it's going to be hard to believe because it's pretty, not quite nails on a chalkboard, but the sound's definitely there. Now we could do it this way too and keep it on the pad. So we had a little bit of overlap up here that I am just kind of felting together with our base piece here. And now I'm gonna come down along our seam just to get that secure so we don't have to worry about it flopping everywhere. Try not to be too close to my microphone, but my setup is really cramped. So I don't have a whole lot of choice in the matter. But yeah, so talents for your class and your spec are going to be allowed. We don't know about profession talent points yet. We need to see how they behave when that part goes live. I don't think that part is live yet. I could be wrong. But I haven't really done any gathering on live, but those seem to really come into play for Dragon Isles more than anything. So we need to see if they're trackable and what's going on with them. And again, the only two challenges that would affect would be Working Man and Pacifist anyhow. And while you can gather out there, I don't know if it's really gonna be it's not gonna be without its risks, I'll put it that way. It's not gonna be smooth sailing. Now we've got little bit hair everywhere as well, since she demanded cuddles. Alright, so sorry, I kind of have the seam turned toward me there a little bit just so I could see where we were. And, you know, ideally, when we get down to putting our tree color on here, you're not gonna see this magenta colored felt. I just kind of was like, hey, why not? Bright color. It's better than doing white felt on here because then you guys can see it. See the contrast between the white craft foam and the wraparound. So this will also help keep all the little styrofoam doodles from flying everywhere as you work with it. When I first opened it, he was okay. It didn't go everywhere, but now that we're touching it, I'm starting to have a bit more of it flake off of the cone. Oh, that sounds irritating to me, I can only imagine. only imagine. So if you're watching the replay of this, feel free to mute this section if you need to come back later. I understand. Because this bit's a little rough. I'm not going to do the whole tree where we're attaching the felt down to it, just, you know, our main seam players here. Just to make sure we are anchored. So see, now that's not flopping all over. It could be a little more anchored, but it'll be good enough for what we're doing. And now, let's see here. We don't need this to be too crazy. So just gonna try to attach our edge here on this piece, because this we just needed to cover it, and there was no point in wasting another piece of felt when we had this scrap. I'm not going to cover the bottom. Don't need to. Not going to see the bottom, and it's going to go onto a piece of our display base, or our foam, and it's going to get glued to a piece of felt. I'll just make sure that we have a good amount of glue on there. On the middle, and then if I have to, we can do some snow fluff around the base, and then stab that in through the bottom edge of the tree to help secure it. So it doesn't matter that this janky piece was cut funny here, that's fine. I mean, if you want to cover the base, you're more than welcome. I'm just not. I mean, 'cause you'll probably have some flaking happening there. Maybe. Won't be as bad as having the whole thing exposed, but we're just kind of anchoring all of this to itself, basically. And this doesn't have to be perfect, because again, nobody's really gonna see this underfelt. This is just to contain the mess for the most part. I'm just cleaning this up a little bit. Forgot that part wasn't in the camera. So yeah, we'll just reattach where we just trimmed off of there. I realized that we had the piece a little bigger than it really necessarily needed to be. Alright, so it might take you a little bit to get this felted to itself and through the foam. Be careful going through the foam. Like I said, if it's not in a thick area, try to keep your fingers out and your hand out from behind it, because this guy will go through the craft foam because it's very airy. There's lots of pockets in there for it to travel through unimpeded, so it will be carrying the amount of force that you're using through there. And make sure that you're going through and pulling out before you go to the next spot. Don't like forget to pull back out, or else you're going to snap your needle in the foam. And sometimes you will find a hard section on the craft foam as you're stabbing through it, so that's what I was just saying. Be a little bit careful, be a little bit gentle if you can. See right there, I don't know if it came through the camera, but I went through here. and it actually came out on the base. You could see it stick out. So see, it's going through at an angle because of the pockets. So be careful. This is actually on the base, sticking out of the bottom. So make sure that you're keeping any unprotected sections of your hand out of the way when you're working on the exposed areas or the thinner areas like down in here. Because I mean, if you look at the length of the needle, that needle can go through that section of the cone before it stops, especially if you're stabbing hard enough. Alright. Just need a little bit more attaching in through here. And of course we're picking up random fuzz off of our pad here. Alright. I mean, it's a little loose over here, but that should be okay as we get going with it. If it bothers you, you can either trim it or you can tuck it into the bottom if you so choose. Might be a little bit harder to get that edge to fully latch on. It might take a little bit if you're so inclined, just because there's nothing else for it to grab into except for the foam. Alright, let me grab my little scrappy doos here. Get them out of the way. Those ones are a little too small for me to keep. Alright, so we're gonna, if I can get my chair to get off of that, so we're gonna take some, we've got two colors for our tree. We've got our sagey color, which is kind of like a piney color, and then we've got our hunter green. So husband suggested we do the tree in this lighter color entirely, and then we come back with this color and kind of like do a scallop pattern, kind of similar to the scallop pattern that's on our roof, for like shadowing underneath to give it some kind of, you know, multi-tone thing. So we're gonna give it a go. Oh, no. You, my friend, are my color sticker, or my color label. You need to stay in there. So the paint box yarns from Lovecraft. This is the Simply Chunky that I tried from them. It'll say the color on the website, and it'll say the color that corresponds to the color number on the website and on your invoice. But when you get the yarn, it only has the color number. I don't know if you can see that. So we're upside down. There we go. So it says COL 326. So I had to go back against my order, my invoice, and get the color names, just so I knew what I had. To make things a little bit easier. Now this is probably going to be a little bit time consuming, just so you know. Gonna wrap this guy around here, and I know we still have to do the top, but it might just be easier to start here, so we have to start somewhere. I'm just gonna do a wraparound. So we also have the challenge of this not being a flat piece, and we'll just dive in and start attaching here. Now, the good part about having, I guess, this dark fuchsia, magenta, I guess it's more of a fuchsia, right? Magenta's a little more brighter, maybe. Fuchsia feels like it has a little bit more of a purple tone to it, I think. And we'll be able to see where our thin spots are. I mean, if we had gone with white, we still would have been able to see the thin spots. But I don't know if I would have been too thrilled with the white popping through there. Now I know we're a little zoomed out here, but this guy is so big. I was trying to get him all in frame, but y'all can't really see what I'm doing either, so this is the dilemma of this setup. I still have to go back in and add those camera angles. So, I mean, he looks a little gray at the moment because of this other color underneath. But that's alright, we'll work on that. It just means we need to layer him up a little bit more. And he's a little thin in this section. So since this is on the felt, I mean, even if it was just straight on the craft foam, it would probably still stick, but it seems to grip the felt a little bit better as we wrap around. And that way we don't have to have our hand in there in the way, holding on for dear life. And because we've got it wrapped, we don't have to worry about anything flaking off and going everywhere too badly, at least in this spot. So I'm gonna take this, right? I'm gonna do a little bit of our sneaky guy, and I'm gonna kind of do a little bit of kind of like a flat circle, not really like a bird's nest, but you know, if you were with us during our tissue paper art, kind of like how we were making the little flower snail shell things. Alright, let's see if we can make this happen here without me totally losing my grip on all of it. Alright, so this isn't gonna be perfect, and we're gonna have to come back and do some more layering on it. And my hand's gonna be really close to the camera. I'm sorry. This is the best way to try to do this one, I think. I was thinking of just trying to make a triangle and attach it to the top of this, but I don't know how well that's gonna necessarily work, and I was afraid that I'd get it either way too small or way too big trying to fix it. So alright, we'll get this going on here. And this is probably the safest way to do this top piece, is to come down through and make sure your hand's out of the way. Now you do have the felt around there that would slow it down if it came through the side, but you can't guarantee that it still wouldn't nick you if you have an unprotected part of your palm or finger in there. So it's just better to get your hands as out of the way as possible. quick looky look here. Let's see where we are at. And like I said, I'm gonna see about getting something that we can put over the top of this. As like a little tree topper. I mean, I could make like a bent over section. Although, worst comes to worst, if they have it at Dollar Tree, I will totally get a tiny little miniature Christmas hat, or we can try to, I don't think I can pull off making one necessarily, but if they have red felt, I can do it that way. Although, we might have some red velvet, like a burgundy wine velvet, fabric. Worst comes to worst, I can always make a little hat with that and stick it on top of the tree as our tree topper, if need be. If I'm not, I'm coming up empty-handed. And then it'll hide the fact that we're a flat top too. I mean, if you want to try to make a pointy top out of roving and then attach it onto there, by all means, go for it. But because of time, we're going to try to do it this way. Alright, so now this is where it's going to get a little extra tricky because I kind of have to have my finger in here to hold this in place now. So I'm going to try to angle down just to prevent me from bursting out the other side unexpectedly. You definitely want to have your finger protectors on. I really should have like a whole hand of them, but they seem to really only come for like your thumb and forefinger. From what I've seen, I can order more, and I could probably just stick them on my other fingers. It might not be a bad idea for those that are accident prone to have them on at least one or two more fingers. Sorry, I had to tilt that a little bit so I could see what I was doing. So how was everybody's weekend? You guys have a decent weekend, I hope. Ding 40 on your Cole Terran Pacifist Druid. Congrats. Sorry, you probably said that a little while ago and I just noticed because I was wrangling our tree, but congratulations all the same. Sorry, I keep dragging this out of the camera because I'm like, where am I at here? What have we still got yet to cover? Alright, so we still have this side to fill in. Got a little bit poking through there. So it might have to go a little bit thicker than you necessarily would just while you're getting these beginning layers in place. But I am kind of liking this color over top of the magenta, or the fuchsia, whatever this color is. What the sticker call it? Okay, the sticker called it fuchsia, so. That is what we will call it as well. So yeah, I might try to do some of this covering the tree offline if I can, because it's gonna take a little bit. And I don't know how much of that you guys really care to see, especially with the scritchy. I'm trying not to be near my microphone, but my microphone's right there, so I don't have anywhere else I can put it at the moment. I'm just gonna double that up there. I was definitely seeing some color poking through. You want to go preheat the oven?
Sure, if you want.
And we need to thaw out a sauce from the freezer. Might as well get that started. So it's gonna take a minute. Alright. Let's start to get this all, because I'm completely out of frame, sorry, poked into here. Oh.
Sorry, I can't remember. 450?
425. Every time we have that discussion, I mean, we could go 450, but it's going to change the cook time. I mean, it might cut it in half. Alright, so. Just gonna grab a spot and start tapping in here as best as we can. Hopefully. So we will be working on the tree tomorrow as well. I'm probably not going to do any work on it tonight. Off stream. If I do anything tonight, I'll be working on the base. Because that's going to be... Sorry, I keep going off camera. That's going to be a little bit more time consuming, and hopefully I can find my gingerbread cookie cutter to use as our person template. Sorry, this tip is just being a little difficult to see for everybody. Either I can see it and you can't, or you can't see it and I can. Just because of I zoomed us back in so we could see, and then I was like, nope, that's not working. Alright, so we've got a little bit more of our fuchsia here and in here that we just need to end up covering
Apologies.
up.
Our meatballs were the ones that were in the door of the stand-up freezer, right?
Probably. Hers is still in the bag in the Ziploc. I don't know if I want any today.
It looks slightly buried, so I didn't know if I had the right ones.
I'm pretty sure those are ours.
I'll give a steak today.
She leaves hers in the bag. We don't. We really gotta start marking these Ziploc bags with whose is whose shit. Just so we know. Alright. So this will get wrapped around in there. Did you pull the sauce out?
Yeah, it's in the pan. I just haven't started it yet.
We're gonna get our tip of our tree as close to being covered as we can. Now, should I have probably gone with like a dark green? Maybe. That probably would have been a little bit easier, but we still would have had to cover wherever the dark green was poking through just to make it look right. So, I mean, it's not like it would eliminate this altogether. I think I see one more. Now, as you add your fluff, you're going to hit sections where you hit resistance, like I am hitting a little bit of resistance here. That might be where our felt base was folded over on itself up here. So do be careful. Alright, so I've got just a little bit more magenta, fuchsia, excuse me, poking through. The pink stuff. Just call it the pink stuff. Alright, so and I'm just gonna go a little bit bigger. Over that little patch that was sticking through, just to try to make sure that we are all good there. So you can see as we're getting more of the fluff on here, it's dampening down a bit of the scritchiness. It's still there a little bit, but it's not quite as bad. And then it's going to come down to just, you know, making sure it's attached and then attaching it to your liking. Like, do you want it to be a little extra fuzzy and unruly, or do you want every single stray strand possible tacked down there? Now that looks pretty good to me on the tip there. Now we do have like a little bit on the edges here, but we have to bring that color further down. But since it's getting to be about dinner time and I'm really hungry, so we're gonna stop here today, and tomorrow we will pick up with this guy and start wrapping further around, because as you can see we have just our little nub here at the top. Although actually, now that we've got our foam on there, he kind of has a nice rounded top to him, so I'm kind of okay with that. Actually, doesn't really need to be a pointy top, but we still might stick, you know, a little Christmas hat on him or something just to give him a little bit of personality as we get there. We'll see. So that's going to be it for tonight. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope your work week starts out as gentle and painless as possible. I don't see anybody on my list to go visit right now, so we'll just cut it here. We will be back tomorrow afternoon to pick this back up. So until next time, you guys have a great one, and good luck on your challengers out there.